At some point in life, we all have to decide whether we want to be victims or victors. Do we want to be defined by slights and wrongs, ones that are perceived or real, that we suffer at the hands of others? 242 years ago, our forefathers made the decision that kind of sitting around bemoaning our fate under British rule wasn't going to get us anywhere. They decided to do something about it. We're a people who chose freedom and liberty, rooted in a sense of virtue over despair and hopelessness. And with courage, sacrifice, and an indomitable spirit and an abiding faith in God, we won our independence and eventually created the greatest country in the world. Powerful forces in today's Democratic Party, though, are at war with that fundamental understanding of the American story. In fact, many think the founding of our country was inherently corrupt and even illegitimate. And they've made a decision to run against that version of America. In the absence of an actual plan to grow American prosperity and keep us safe, Democrats are embracing victimhood as a political platform this midterm cycle. Democrat Stacey Abrams is running for governor in Georgia.
The miasma of fear that is created through voter suppression is as much about terrifying people about trying to vote as it is about actually blocking their ability to do so.
Now, what is she talking about? Voter registration has reached a record level in Georgia, and there was a 75% voter participation there in 2016. The average nationwide was only 55%. Abrams is selling fear, victimhood, and the idea of, wait, illegal aliens voting?
The thing of it is, the blue wave is African American.
Yeah!
It's white, it's Latino, it's Asian Pacific Islander.
Yes!
It is made up of those who've been told that they are not worthy of being here. Yes! It is comprised of those who are documented and undocumented.
Yes! Whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a midnight train to Georgia here. Did you just catch that? Sounds like if Abrams had her druthers, illegal immigrants would indeed, or are part of the blue wave. In other words, be eligible to vote? How does that not dilute the legal votes of American citizens of all colors and all backgrounds? But it gets worse up in Massachusetts, where a lot of my family's from, and where for years Elizabeth Warren has shamelessly peddled the idea that she is a Cherokee Indian.
My Aunt Bee has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians. Being Native American has been part of my story, I guess, since the day I was born.
Was she born in 1985? Because I think that's when she was starting to tell the story. Anyway, Warren is trying to play the victim. After years of taking criticism for her Native American claims, Warren, with an eye on 2020, tried to get this all out of the way. She released an expensive video starring a DNA specialist.
What do the facts say?
The facts suggest that you absolutely have a Native American ancestor in your pedigree.
Some people have questioned my heritage and my family history. Maybe they do it to insult me. Maybe they do it to distract from the kinds of changes I'm fighting for.
According to a DNA study analyzed by Stanford's Carlos Bustamante, who, by the way, works for 23andMe, the company, he's an advisor of that company, Warren is possibly 1,024th, which is 0.09% Native American, okay? That's where the scale goes. It goes like from 0.09% to, I don't know, like everybody else. According to the New York Times, scientists say the average European American is 0.18% Native American. So that'd make Warren less Native American than the average European American. Wait a second. Oh, what the heck happened to liberal concerns about cultural appropriation? I guess that's out the window. Warren is kind of a typical Democrat, though, here. She's racially obsessed. And let's face it, that's just easier than being factually informed. And worse, she's willing to scam the system, in this case, play an Indian, to get a boost professionally or, in this case, politically. And to add insult to injury, her DNA specialist, Carlos Bustamante, flatly admitted that he didn't even use Native American samples for the test. Seriously? Well, to make up for the lack of those samples, he used ones from Mexico, Peru, and Colombia. Keep this up, and Warren's going to be claiming that she's more Latina than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez by 2020. Well, speaking of Latinos, a new migrant caravan from Central America, the second in 6 months, is now headed up through Mexico to the United States this week. It already has 1,600 members. Naturally, Democrats have started their old narrative about Trump separating families at the border. If only they had the same concern for Americans brutally victimized by illegals here in the United States. In the last few weeks, 2 illegals have committed vicious rapes just in the New York area. One, Ever Martinez Reyes, followed a Nassau County woman home, knocked her out, and repeatedly raped her for about an hour. Then there's Julio Ayala. He's thought to be a member of MS-13, and Ayala broke into the bedroom of an 11-year-old girl he did not know and raped her on a bunk bed with her brother below them. Meanwhile, we hear almost nothing on those stories or so many more like them from Democrats who at the same time agonize over non-citizens overwhelming our Border Patrol. When Leslie Stahl tried to melt hearts with her family separation narrative last night, the president set her straight.
Are you willing to reinstitute that policy? You said we're looking at everything. Yes,
I will only.
or no?
You can't say yes or no. What I can say is this: there are consequences from coming into a country, namely our country, illegally.
I'm not going to ask it again.
You don't have to.
Okay.
But it's the same as Obama.
Well, Donald Trump has exposed the fraudulent nature of the left's weak arguments and their weaker narratives. There is a sudden bounce. You felt it in that 60 Minutes interview last night. The left is fuming that 60 Minutes actually aired the interview. Check out the blogs. But he has that extra bounce in his step, in a sense that his party is now on the rise again. Following the Kavanaugh battle, you would have thought, though, that the Democrats might have gotten the message that victimhood for political gain is not a great strategy. It won't work, and it hasn't. And the good news is the Republicans may have finally found their groove. They're outselling the peace, prosperity, and security agenda that Trump won on and is delivering on. I don't know. In the end, I think most Americans are just smart enough to see that victimhood is a dead end, personally and politically. And that's the angle.